Alright, hello everyone. I'm going to give you a little video introduction before we dive into this one because I kind of have a little bit of a backstory with this. And I say a little bit, but I mean huge backstory with this, considering the backstory to this video is my entire life. But I love this video so much, and it makes me so happy because everything that I talk about is just so truthful and so real and so honest. It's like just funny and in your face real. And I just love it so much. So in short, the contents of this video completely revolve around duality and masculine and feminine forces in general, God and the oneness of God, and our separation from God and the process of getting back to God, the process of being enlightened, what light versus dark really means. There's a whole spiel about Christianity because here's where the backstory comes in. Ever since I was a very small girl, was raised as a Christian, and like many other people in this Western world, through high school, I still believed that this God existed and still felt like there was this connection to this God inside of myself, but I didn't attend church. I wasn't a Christian. I just tried to survive and I felt this God figure inside of me and outside of me, and I had this belief in God even though I didn't go to church and I didn't have any true Christian beliefs. So when I was 19, I was in a horrible state, and it's so funny to even think back on this because it feels like such a dream. It's like I can't even remember what it was like to be in that state because it was so long ago and it was so far away from who I am and where I am now today. But anyways, when I was 19, I moved across the country and I started going to church, and for the following 6 years, I went to church every week, multiple times a week. I was involved in youth groups and young adult groups, and I volunteered every Sunday, and I was just there as much as I possibly could be because it made me feel connected to something that I was deeply longing for. So I became a Christian. I became a hardcore Christian, and I did 2 years of Bible college at this church, and then I was on staff for 3 years. So I was deeply, heavily involved in the Christian faith for a long time, and I loved Bible college. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. The good that it did for my soul is so, I can't even find words for how much it really means to me and how much good it really did to me. So if there are any people that still go to that church and have looked at me and said, oh, this girl has fallen away, she got divorced and she is now living this whatever life, I loved my experience in Bible college, and I loved my experience with that church, and I loved that religion. But here's the kicker. I never stopped believing in Christianity. I never stopped believing in God. I never turned away from God. I turned right toward Him. I became aware of all of the bullshit that is in the modern church. I became aware of all the bullshit that is in the modern church. When I was in Bible college, there were certain times where I felt so connected to the truth of God, and I just became so aware of all of this cloudiness and illusion and false structures that were just kind of holding up the Christian faith, and I was like, this isn't what it's talking about. This isn't what it means. So I kind of just let that structure of Christianity collapse, and it really rocked me. And I became I used to be so stable and I had this firm foundation to stand on, and then it all crashed beneath me, and I was like, I cannot believe anything until I know that it is 100% true. So I didn't turn away from God. I didn't stop believing in God. I didn't believe in another God. I just allowed that structure to be wiped out of me, and I began from the bottom. And I had to take a little bit of a break from it, and then eventually over the years, this was 4 years ago at this point, and over the last 4 years, I have gained so much like internal, deep, real knowledge about God, and this whole process that I've been going through about trying to find myself and trying to really know myself. Like, in my mind now, knowing myself is equal to knowing God, because the deepest, deepest, deepest parts of me are God. And anyways, I don't disbelieve the Christian faith. I think it is true. I think Christianity is true, but it's not true in the modern, dogmatic, religious sense. It is true in a way deeper, way more personal way. And I kind of just obliterate the modern Christian idea at the end of this video, and that's okay, because I love it so much. And I really hope that you, if you're watching this and if you're still here and if you're excited about this, I really hope that you stick through and just watch this whole video, because it means so much to me, and it really feels to me like it's just something so pure and something so true to me and something so illuminating. It is light. This video is light, and every person who watches it, it will illuminate a part of you that you don't want to see. It will bring light to you, and if you're willing to face it, if you're willing to let that light in and work in you, it will change you. So that's all I'm gonna say with that, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. Okay. God, these moments just keep blowing my mind. I wouldn't even say that I'm a person who has anxiety, except when I smoke weed, then I get anxious and I have to like go through this really epic process of like transcending this like vibratory space that I find myself in, and I have to elevate above that. And then once I'm there, holy fuck, life is so different from this place. And I can't believe that every single time I lose this, it's like I forget everything, and it's like so simple. It's right in front of my face the entire time. So I just like got really anxious, and I was like just repeating to myself what I know to be true, even though I wasn't feeling it as true in my body and in my mind. I was experiencing anxiety, so I wasn't in the truth. And that's a big statement right there. I was experiencing anxiety because I wasn't in the truth. Anxiety can be synonymous with fear, and truth can be synonymous with light. And fear can also be synonymous with darkness. So dark on one side, light on the other. This is the whole point of the conversation I want to have with you today. So of course, I'm like battling this anxiety, and I'm just like repeating this truth over to myself. It's like, this is the light, this is the truth, and a part of me knows it to be true, but it's like, it's not a part of me that is really ingrained in my frontal psyche, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's kind of like a background thing that I know to be true, but in the foreground, I forget it. Constantly, I forget it. So when I'm facing these anxious moments, a part of me knows the truth. So I'm like, okay, let's bring this in, let's bring this in, let's bring the truth in, repeat to myself, convince myself of the truth. And then when I do that, it's like this really cool feeling actually of like truth sinking into my anxious fears and like transforming them like inside of my body. It's like I can feel this thing happening, and then I get all excited and I'm like, whoa, I've just discovered something really cool. And anyways, so the things that I keep rephrasing to myself, and these like when I'm bringing truth and light into these dark places into myself, and I'm transforming them in the moment. It's like in the moment I'm alchemizing those fears, and the result of that transformation is like these phrases or like glimpses of absolute truth that I get in those moments of transformation. So I was having these little phrases, and this has happened for so long now, I just didn't really know where they were coming from, but I just feel like it literally makes so much fucking sense to me right now, and I'm hoping that I can make sense of this to you or myself or whoever. So this is Django. I guess this is your first appearance. When I'm in these like alchemizing moments, I have these like, boom, clarity, truth bombing moments that just occur, and often in the form of words that depict something so meaningful and true. And sorry, my cat's just in the sink. Get out. Those little realizations build on each other until I have this like concept that is like start to finish complete and true. Gosh, and I'm just realizing like every time I do this, like every time I've recorded one of these videos, I start off in that anxious state and I just start talking through it. And as I talk through it and I work through it, I'm bringing light into the anxiety, because words are light. And as I'm like recording these videos, those realizations are occurring right in front of the camera. And yeah, it's like these whole videos usually start with like an unknown thing, and then by the end of the video, that thing that was unknown is now in the light. It's like, this is blowing my mind. Every single thing is like darkness being transformed into lightness. It's like, what the, blowing my mind right now. See, even now, it's like my heart is racing and I'm feeling anxiety because I think I have to like rush through this or it's gonna slip away from me or something. It's like I keep rushing and experiencing anxiety because I'm in a hurry, because I think that the present moment is like gonna run out. It's like I need to get to the future, I need to get to the next thing, or I need to keep the past. I need to not forget this like feeling that I'm experiencing, and I wanna like, I don't know, it's like anxiety is when you're in either the past or the future and you're not in this moment. But it's like every time I remind myself of the truth, I land smack dab in the center and I'm like, holy fuck, this is life. This right here, this moment. Every moment that is unfolding, if you can fucking open your eyes to see it, it is astoundingly peaceful and beautiful. Django, do you have to be like, you're gonna spill the water, I just know it. Okay, this is fun. This is really enjoyable for me. Like already anxious. It's like inescapable. It just keeps coming back. It's like, why? Why does it keep coming back? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay. I've just begun a 30-day challenge where I'm trying to step into my true self. I'm not going to go into that right now. But on the first day, oh my gosh, now the kitten is eating the tripod, so hopefully he doesn't bump it. When I began this challenge, I initiated it with a cacao ceremony, and I had never done one before, and I just did it with myself, and I just connected with myself, and I did some writing and was just present with myself for like 2 hours. And I wrote a lot of really cool things like that relate to this, and I just want to kind of go through and bring those words back into the present moment because I feel like they are aligned with what is happening here. Yeah, it's like everything that I wrote was really truthful and beautiful, and I wasn't high. I didn't smoke weed. I just felt like I was really in this beautiful, truthful place. I was just in the present moment and I was aware. Okay, so I'm just gonna read this. I'm just gonna read the whole thing. Hello. First thing I wrote. The past is feminine. It holds emotions in the darkness, an illusion of memory. The past holds emotions in the darkness and illusion of memory. Holy fuck. The past holds emotion in the darkness and illusion of memory. When you're dealing with the past, you're holding on to some sort of emotion that is crowded in illusion and darkness. It's like the past is the feminine aspect of time. And the future is the masculine aspect of time. Just ignore the background noise because I have a kitten that is untamable. So the future is masculine. It ensnares us in its mental carnival of do's and shoulds. So that one's obviously not as profound a statement, but it ensnares us in its mental carnival of do's and shoulds. So the past traps us in this like illusory emotional state, and the future ensnares us in like a mental pressure that's like, this needs to be done. It's a pressure. It's like, this is like roaring at you. So both the masculine future side of time and the past feminine side of time are anxious states if you're dwelling in them. And what I wrote next is, we must overcome the fears associated with the negative emotions of the past. Both states cause anxiety because of fear. So the fears associated with the negative emotions of the past, and the fears associated with the outcomes of the future. So when I'm in these states and I feel anxious, it's because of two things. Sorry, I have to do something about this. So when I get anxious, I'm either in the past or I'm in the future. I'm in the past in a way where I'm like, in these states, I get really anxious because I keep feeling like I'm experiencing these really like epic emotions and thoughts and like these transformative moments, and I'm like afraid that I'm going to forget them, or afraid that I'm going to lose them, or I'm afraid, yeah, it's like I'm holding on to the past. It's like I need to obsess about the thought I just had or the feeling that I just had, and instead of allowing, like, I'm not going to lose those things. I'm not going to lose them. And then I'm anxious in a future sense because I was like beginning this, like I'd made a sandwich and I was like anxious because I was like, I want to write. And then I was anxious about writing because I was like, I need to finish my sandwich. And then I was like, I need to finish my sandwich so that I can play this game, because the original plan was to eat a sandwich and play a game. And then I'm like, oh, I need to finish writing so that I can finish my sandwich so that I can finish the game. It's like, why am I so pressured by the future events that I apparently am so in a hurry to get to, that I'm like, when I'm anxious, it's because of that. It's because I'm rushing to get to the future, or I'm anxious that the past is going to somehow slip away in some way. It's like, what the fuck is going on? I have a fear of losing something, and I have a fear of like not attaining something. So we have to overcome the fears associated with the negative emotions of the past, fears associated with the outcomes of the future. Right here in the middle is the only place the divine feminine and masculine can dance, healing the past and creating the true and awakened future through present moment awareness and love. I'm going to read that again. Right here in the middle is the only place the divine feminine and masculine can dance, healing the past and creating the true and awakened future through present moment awareness and love. And this ties into the like darkness and light thing too. It's like, well, both states are darkness. Both states are anxiety, fear, illusion, darkness, same fucking thing. Same fucking thing. And only in the middle is where the light is. Now, the present moment, what is happening right now is light. The past is dark. The future is dark. It hasn't happened yet. Only right now is when consciousness is illuminating every moment. Holy fuck. I have goosebumps, seriously. Okay. The flame of my soul has been suppressed and hidden for far too long. A pure and loving fire is growing within me. I must allow it to move freely through my entire body so that I can embody it physically. I feel like my body is anxious. My mind and my soul know the light, they know the truth, but my body does not know the light. My body is in the dark. My body is anxious. My nervous system, I guess, is just like when I'm sober, I'm not really in a super anxious state. I don't really have anxiety, but I feel like I'm still operating in this like lower, darker kind of like state of physicality. Like my body is not vibrant with life and light. And I need to bring the light of my soul into my body and allow this pure and loving fire to move freely through my body so that I can embody that fire physically. Like, I need to move my body more. I need to wake my body up. My body is sleeping. My body is in the dark. I need to move it. I need to bring it into the present moment. I need to move my body in the present moment. That is what is going to bring light to my body. Again, mind-blowing. Okay. Perfect love casts out all fear, just as perfect light casts out all darkness, just as perfect truth dissolves all illusion. And then I circled fear, darkness, and illusion are all part of this dark dichotomy, duality, whatever. Like the dark side, the feminine, the chaotic. It's like this and this. So we have on this side, fear, darkness, illusion. On this side, love, light, truth. What appears dark creates illusion because it is unclear. It's in the past, it's in the future, it's unconscious. It creates illusion because it's unclear, because there's no light. If there's no light, it's not clear because you can't fucking see it, obviously. This illusion creates fear, which only keeps one in the darkness. Truth, love, and light all dissolve darkness. No fear or lack can exist in the loving illumination of the divine. You can think of this in terms of duality. This is a really fucking epic idea that I'm about to describe. But this is how you go from duality to the unus mundus. Okay, so you can think of this in two senses. Feminine, chaos, darkness, illusion, fear. It's impossible to talk about. Like, I'm struggling to talk about this because it is impossible to put it into words. It is not part of the mental world. You can't talk about it completely. But like, you have the duality of the physical world. If you think of the yin yang and you separate the light and the dark, you have the masculine, the feminine, there's all these different parts of a whole that are equal parts this and equal parts this. Or like they are their opposites. That is a way to break the one thing into two parts over and over and over again. This and this, this and this, this and this, this and this. Breaking it up in all kinds of different ways. That is duality, taking the one and putting it into two in whatever language you use to do that with, or whatever imagery, or whatever themes, whatever. That is duality. But the oneness is either oneness or other. And I feel like that is the true, like, you can use light and dark in the dualistic sense. Light and dark are a true example of duality. But when you think of light in terms of the one thing, the unus mundus, the one thing, the truth, the love of the divine creator, the one light, loving truth that exists and that created everything. That is the light. And that is the one thing. There is no darkness in the one thing. There is only the one thing, which is light, and then there is other, which is darkness. And if there is anything that is other than the light, it is the darkness. So it's not like light and dark are equal forces competing against each other. It's only light, and anything that is outside of the light is dark. And I guess that's where it would have originally separated, because in the beginning there was only the one thing, and then it separated itself. You know, it's like we were in heaven with God, and then we fell. We fell down to earth and had to go through this experience to get back up. So we started at the one, the light, and then we fell into darkness, and now we have this perpetual journey of trying to just like find the light within us and light up the darkness over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until we elevate ourselves back up into the light. So anyways, the next thing that I wrote down in my little meditation was no part of me untouched by holy light. I love that so much. No part of me untouched by holy light. I love that. This world is dark because of the darkness in man. Man has forgotten the light in his heart. He is filled with fear, with rage, with guilt and shame, with greed and pride, all attributes of darkness. And so together men create this illusory world of darkness. But I am fierce warrior of the light. There is no darkness, no matter how great in number or perverse depth, that the light cannot undo with a flash of its brilliance. There is no darkness, no matter how great, that the light cannot undo with a flash of its brilliance. Like, darkness and light are not equal. Light is way more powerful. Darkness has no power. It literally has no power. It's just the lack of power. It's hilarious. This light within me is the healing force of God. Everything my light touches will be loved, illuminated, and made light. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Words are light. Words bring up and out the hidden wisdoms of the inner realms. There are hidden wisdoms in the inner realm, and words bring those up and out into the light. I love that. Words bring mental clarity and understanding to human experience. My words may illuminate someone else's soul, just as the words of millions of others have traveled along a path to reach me and to aid me in my awakening. Love this shit. Okay, let's bring it back to today's writing. Fear is an illusion from the devil. True ass statement. Every single fear about every single thing, however big or small, is an illusion from the devil. But the devil is not a big evil entity outside of you looking to overthrow you. This is not the modern Christian version of the devil. The devil is not an external force that is evil and wants to destroy you. The devil is inside of you. The devil is the lack of light inside of you. The devil is your shadow parts, the parts that you don't know, the parts that are dark, the parts that you have not illuminated. Through Christ, the whole Christian belief is that through Christ you have power over the devil. That's the whole reason he died and resurrected, was because when he died, he got the keys to hell and transcended and then gave humanity the ability to be saved. Like, it's right in front of us, and it's like so insane. Like, through Christ you have power over the devil. That doesn't mean that if you believe in a human being, that this human being somehow, like, from heaven puts this power in you so that if you believe in his name, then suddenly you have power over this external devil or whatever. It's like such a stupid idea. No offense to any Christians. I used to be one, but it's like, that's not what it means. Christ is the light. Christ is the light of consciousness. And when you have the light of consciousness, you have power over the darkness that is in you. That's the whole thing I'm saying. It's like fear and anxiety and all evil in the world is just darkness. How do we overcome that? How do we overcome the darkness in the world and in ourselves? Through Christ, through the light. Christ is the light of consciousness. The devil is only the absence of light. You become enlightened when your ego, the devil, is not dominated by demonic forces. So when you become enlightened when your ego is not dominated by demonic forces. If your ego is not integrated, your ego is the devil. Like, what it means to live in hell is to live in your ego, because your ego is dominated by the demons. Your ego is dominated by the unconscious parts of you that create fear, and then your ego operates out of that fear and keeps you in a horrible state. That is hell. That is what the devil and hell means. It means to be trapped in a state where you're living in an illusion. It's the Matrix. It's like it all is right in front of us. In so many ways, the truth is right there. It's really not that hard to see how simple it is. So you become enlightened when your ego is not dominated by demonic forces. When you integrate your ego, You become enlightened when the unconscious, dark parts of self are enlightened. And enlightened means into light. So when you bring, you came from the light, but when we are birthed into this earth, there's so much darkness around in all the people, and all, like, there's so much dark energy that it's like our pure baby consciousness light is like overcome by all of this darkness. And then when we grow up, we remember what it was like to be a part of the light. And we can bring that light of consciousness back into us, back through us, and overcome all of the darkness that is inside of us, so that our whole being is radiant light. And then that light goes out into the world. That is what it means to be saved. That is what it means to be saved. You don't go to hell because you don't believe in Jesus. We already live in hell. The only way to get out of hell, the only way to be saved is, yes, through the power of Jesus. But it's like, what is Jesus? Jesus is not just a historical figure that you believe was God and died and rose again. That is not the Christian faith. It has everything to do with Christ in you. It's all over the place in the Bible. Christ in you, Christ in you. It's like you are the light. The light is in you. And that is how you are saved, by bringing the light into all the dark parts of you. This is where I'm at in my journey here on this planet. Just being blasted with like holy light.